Hi, listeners. Welcome back to the Whole Podcast KC. Today we have our first outside of the whole person guest, which I'm super excited about. We have Matt Fritzie here today with us. He's one of our adaptive sports athletes. So I will just let him get started with his story.
Yeah, hi, I'm Matt Fritzie. It's great to be here and see you guys. I grew up in Kansas City originally, and not too long after my high school graduation, going to college, I had a fortunate diving accident resulting in a cervical spinal cord injury. And after that, I went on to finish my college degree, and went on to get a graduate degree as well, and worked in a medical device industry for a while, and eventually returned back to Kansas City, where I'm originally from, where my roots are, and it's been a great to be back and still kind of have a good involvement in adaptive sports and in the disability community. So I'm excited to be connected with the whole person as well.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. So, what was your life like before adaptive sports?
Yeah, my life was fairly active as well. I think I was a pretty sociable person, had a pretty strong friend group, and close with my family, and I also was a pretty studious person. I tried to strive pretty well academically, and yeah, I mean, I found myself pretty engaged with the community as well, and was involved in some sports, and really enjoyed like outdoor recreation, and so I think, it was fairly wholesome, and I really enjoyed for what it was, and it's obviously a different part of my life before, post pre and post injury, but I still kind of keep in touch with people, obviously my family, but some of the friends that I made before my injury as well.
Sure.
So
Awesome. Okay, how did you find adaptive sports and the whole person?
yeah, I originally found adaptive sports through some like similar individuals that have like pretty resembling conditions to mine, and they introduced it to me, and it was kind of through word of mouth, and just getting out there and trying it, in person, and maybe getting a used chair or a loaner chair to just get out there and see how I liked it, and they gave me a lot of tips and advice, and I think it was maybe through my rehabilitation hospital I was at, they kind of gave me an idea of what's available, and then kind of just meeting people in the community that have certain limitations, mobility wise, and then
Sure.
they told me about what the opportunities they can lead and what doors can open through them, and I thought kind of made me pretty excited. And granted, I did have a kind of a leave of absence from a few years after my injury. I was kind of somewhat in a little denial, and I didn't really know what the future held, and I
Sure.
felt like
I think all
it was
people kind of go through that too, just kind
yeah.
of finding your place
It
again.
was just trying to figure out what my future holds, and like, when I was pretty young when my injury happened, so it was a lot of unknowns, and a lot of, as you go through that period in your life, you're even someone that doesn't get injured, they're kind of getting adjusted to a new adulthood and stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm just glad to have people that I've met that have kind of shown me their experiences and opened new doors. And I think
Yeah,
it's a lot about
absolutely.
your community and what connections you have to like really kind of show, make your life a little more like wholesome, and can build upon like these great kind of hobbies and pastimes.
And what I always say to all of our guests is it's nice to have a community that can relate and that you can, kind of go through the
Yeah,
experience together with, give tips and tricks to, one
yeah,
another.
uh-huh,
We
definitely.
have a tennis racket here, so I'm
Yeah,
assuming you're a tennis player.
yeah. So I
Awesome.
feel like I've tried a few different adaptive sports, but I feel like tennis has probably resonated me the most, and it's been a great sport that you can take with you to a lot of different parts of the world. I mean, it's a pretty universal sport, and wheelchair tennis is fairly established. They have it all the major tennis tournaments, in the world, and yeah, it's a great way to to get out and stay active, and you can even play with others that are not necessarily, disabled. You can play with able-bodied individuals as well. So
Right.
yeah, I've found a lot of promise with that. Other than that, I have gotten involved with some wheelchair rugby team in town, and I've done some hand cycling and as well on individually. But I definitely would say tennis is like the most prominent.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. So how long have you been playing wheelchair tennis?
Yeah, I've been playing for about, I would say, about 6 years, 6 or 7 years, so give or take. And yeah, it took me a while. Like when I first, not too long after I got injured, I got introduced to it, but then I didn't really take it too seriously and kind of just played casually. But now, I guess the last probably 4 or 5 years, I've taken to a more serious, like competitive level where I'm
Awesome.
training more and I'm playing more consistently and getting more serious about competition and in my,
Do you travel a lot for different competitions?
yeah, I would say like during a season I'll travel to, at least 7 or 8 tournaments or so. And I did travel to my first like international tournament in last year in Canada.
Oh, awesome.
So
How
that
was
was neat. It
that?
was neat. Yeah, it was a beautiful city. It was in Vancouver, Canada, and
Wow, awesome.
yeah, it was nice. And I really enjoyed, the camaraderie as well with other individuals that
Sure.
have,
Meeting
a
lots of new
lot.
people.
Yeah, yeah. And like you kind of see similar faces at these tournaments. I mean, the wheelchair tennis community is not, huge, but it's definitely brings a lot of different people from different backgrounds to kind of relate on similar, interests and stuff. So you can really kind of um, meet the differences between other cultures, and you can unite on this game of tennis. Even if it's adapted in wheelchair, wheelchair tennis. So I feel like that's like really powerful. The
Yeah,
power of
absolutely.
sport. So
So how do you hold the racket? Is
yeah,
it about the
so
same as
yeah. I mean, so I
I don't really know a
from
lot
my no,
about
it's all
tennis.
right.
I
No,
tried playing a few times and
yeah,
it didn't
no.
work
So
out well for
mine's
me.
like my circumstance is pretty unique. Like a lot of wheelchair tennis players that have pretty much full upper body function, and they can have full trunk control, and their grip's not limited. But my like division of tennis I'll play is called quad tennis, and so I have some limitations. It's not like I have, my injury is considered, quadriplegia, but so I have like some slight functional limitations in my grip of my hands, and then some in my trunk as well. So that's kind of how I qualify. You get classified into these certain divisions from these classifiers, and so right now, I mean, I've tried to, do some innovative design thinking on different grip aids and as well, and like devices to use to help me grip the racket. But now I still use, like, I can kind of show you. I mean, I don't have the athletic tape with me now, but I just the limitation I have is my thumb, that like the opposition just doesn't want to kind of compensate when that grip is, as well. So you know I can get a decent grip on it, but I'll use athletic tape to kind of help aid in my grip as well. And so it's just this grip can only hold for a certain amount of time, and it
Sure.
kind of gets, the endurance of it's not great. So that's kind of where it comes in to help kind of solidify this grip. And it does, there's some deficits. I can't like change my grip during a match or anything, but I found a pretty good one that is pretty um has pretty good strengths on both the forehand and backhand and serve as well. So um but yeah, I'm definitely like kind of a smaller pool of participants being in the quad tennis division, but there's also, more opportunity to play on an international level because it's a smaller pool of competitors. So, but there's still really strong players that are forced to reckon with when trying to get to that next like international level. So
Sure.
and I've gotten a lot of, you know decent promise, and I've worked with the Paralympic committee, and
Wow.
so they definitely have me in their sights and stuff. And I'm selected on the short list for the Paralympics this year, but who knows? I mean, my ranking's not real high, so I'm not sure if I'll be selected. But I
That's
definitely kind
awesome
of
to even
shooting.
be considered though
Yeah,
for that.
yeah,
That's
it's kind of
great.
striving towards.
Right. It gives you
Um,
something to work towards
yeah,
also.
it's a good goal of mine, and I think I mean we probably need to take my training to a little bit more serious level to try to achieve that. But I'm definitely kind of working towards. Feel like my game's gotten better, and I'm just it's been great to meet a lot of people and the camaraderie you get through tennis and the new cities you can visit because of these tournaments, and so it's been a great avenue, and definitely encourage others to definitely give it a try, even though it's may not be if you had an injury or trauma that may not be the same as what you experienced beforehand, but there's I dealt with the
Ways
same.
around it.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
there's a way to adapt to it,
Hmm.
almost any type of ability,
Right.
and there's yeah, and I think it's just kind of finding those resources and finding the people that can
Absolutely.
help open those doors. I mean, it's definitely like a little bit more of a niche area, but yeah, you just gotta put yourself out there and try not to, um, try not to limit yourself.
Right.
And
Right.
yeah,
What other hobbies do you have?
yeah, yeah. So outside of tennis, I did say I play wheelchair rugby. I'm on the wheelchair rugby team here in Kansas City.
Oh, really? I didn't even
Yeah.
know there was one. Where's that at?
Yeah. So we play at the Hy-Vee Arena.
Oh,
It's
okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
at we practice there. And then we have a home tournament here. We had one last season at the North Kansas City YMCA, and there's about 10 or 11 of us total on the team or so. And yeah, we traveled to like a number of tournaments, and we did make it we were at semifinals, and we did qualify for nationals, and so it was a pretty successful season, and we had a pretty solid team, and I was doing pretty well with that in that group, and but also outside of that, I did mention I do like some hand cycling when I can, just to get outside, and yeah, that's been a nice avenue to just to stay active, and then I also got connected with this organization called Missouri Disabled Sportsmen. I've been doing some hunting and fishing, outdoor
Oh,
recreation.
awesome.
So that's been great. And other than that, I mean, I like listening to live music. I do try to play the piano at home. I have a keyboard, and
Very cool.
and uh, and I've also kind of I'm not working full time, but I'm interested in getting back into medical device innovation and medical tech. And I worked at a smaller, startup company previously and been in some involvement in some medical research, so I'm getting back into
That's
that
awesome.
field,
Very
so,
exciting.
yeah, it's neat, and I've so it's kinda hard to balance some things sometimes, but it's just gotta follow your passions and stay engaged with what interests you and try to help, others, get introduced as well and meet others that maybe are not as experienced and new to this realm due to this community to really encourage them and provide like mentorship. I think that'd be something that I've trying to do and we've I've tried to introduce things to others that may not know much about it. So
Yeah, that kind of leads me to my next question.
yeah.
Like, what kind of advice would you give to ones that's, one that had been in your shoes and not sure
Yeah.
what direction to go?
Yeah, I mean I would say I mean it takes time to kind of get comfortable like with a new lifestyle of living with a disability. I mean, it's been quite the process to relearn a lot new tasks, and I think it just
Right.
takes patience and a strong mindset and resilience to kind of rebuild a new lifestyle and new like personal identity. So I think you got to take time with that and then get comfortable with like your daily routine, but then also you need to just even though it's not the life maybe someone hasn't, particularly chosen, but you gotta, maximize what you do have and utilize that function to, adapt and find ways to stay active. I kind of really advocate being an active lifestyle and still like connecting with the community and finding others um that have, these opportunities or have similar interests to engage in. And I mean I would also would say that the power of the mind, mind over matter, and it's really trying to
Yes. I love that. I
Yeah.
say that all the time. I never
Yeah.
really knew what it meant until I started
Yeah.
really pushing myself.
Yeah.
I work out quite a bit,
Okay.
trying to do different knee strengthening stuff. I have awful
Yeah.
knees.
Yeah.
And also, just coming over,
Yeah.
going to an into a gym and
Yeah.
lifting weights on my own is hard. It's like I
Yeah.
have to be comfortable with like not really being able to see where I'm going, what I'm
Yeah.
going up to, seeing different weight the weights, like the
Yeah.
pounds of weights. So I have
Yeah.
to get kind of close. And, I'm sure people are like, why don't you just get some glasses,
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's just something you have to overcome. Like it's something that
Yeah.
I want to do. It's important to me.
Yeah.
So I just mind over matter. You have to just
Yeah.
push yourself over that
Yeah. I mean,
limit.
it's amazing the ability of the human body to adapt and
Absolutely.
find ways to overcome. And if you have the right mindset and motivation, you really can find, you know, a lot of solutions to things that, people or from the, outside perspective perceive probably impossible for someone. So it's just
Right.
really finding, through that solution, that pathway
Right.
moving forward, and I would say just don't do it alone either. I mean, I would say there's
You got to have a
organizations like
support
the Whole
team.
Person,
Yeah.
there are other places that can give, hopefully you can have some family support and some friends, and
Some
and there's
friends. Yeah.
communities online that provide different, good perspectives and everything, and a lot of foundations that are willing to support through different grants and funding for this equipment as well.
Sure. Right. Awesome. All right. Well, we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Matt.
Life can present challenges, but the whole person believes in turning challenges into triumphs. Our staff is trained to provide compassionate, personalized care that enhances the lives of our consumers, enabling them to live independently and with dignity. The whole person believes in the power of human connection. Our staff extends their reach into vibrant communities, fostering connections and creating moments of joy for every consumer we serve. Whether that's through peer support groups, adaptive sports, employment services, or non-emergency medical transportation, our staff provides exceptional care and become trusted companions and confidants. Your donation will help us continue to expand our programs and services to help people with disabilities remain independent and living in their home. Consider giving a gift today. Thank you.
All right, welcome back to the whole podcast, KC with Matt Fritzie. Let's just go ahead and pick back up where we left off. So how important was like your support system, family, friends during the
Yeah.
process?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say that's been a huge kind of, resource and support to, undergo and overcome the my injury and, trying to relearn and adapt to a new lifestyle, and I'm fortunate to have good family support and my parents and, my sister and, some extended family as well. So that's I think it's good to utilize some people that, when you're going through these hardships to kind of use as a good crutch or um, and to kind of help lead you in the right direction and when you're in a uh, obviously a some adversity like that, it can be tough to take it all on you individually,
Right,
and then
absolutely.
also like
Well, you can't. I mean, it's hard to
yeah.
do it by yourself. You
Yeah,
have to
definitely. I mean,
have someone to
it's
help.
yeah, definitely. So that's been nice, and I'm still close with my family, I live independently by myself now, but I still have a good relationship with them and still see them fairly often, and as far as my friends, I feel like, some of them, I think most of them they were, pretty conducive to, you know, a new lifestyle for me, and they didn't really, they were trying to be there as much as they could in their own realm, but
Sure.
there's some have kind of drifted away. I mean, it's just kind of the state of life as well, like but and I've also made a lot newer friends as too. So yeah, that that involves your friendships and some of them are more a little bit more connected to you. They seem to stay in touch a little more. So but yeah, I mean, I'm fortunate to have a pretty good community around me,
Yes, that does
and
help for sure.
yeah, so
What has the whole person done to help your through your journey?
Yeah, the whole person has done some great work in supporting adaptive sports and different ways to help me on my journey towards in wheelchair tennis, primarily. So and I've also got involved in some of their CrossFit programming as too, and they just provided a lot of resources and a lot of great different classes and then they have helped us like for funding and like getting through these tournaments and getting to travel to some of these competitions as well and they've helped kind of get secure some court time and getting some just kind of more getting more established within wheelchair tennis because you got to have course around town to practice at. You gotta, you can find coaches that are willing to help. I mean, that can increase your ability and your skills on the court and increase, your competitive level. So yeah, the whole person's just been a great organization that been fortunate to connect with, and I've met some wonderful people. Some are in this room now that have done some great things. So, but yeah, it's been great, and I'm excited to see where the future leads with the whole person and what I can do to help increase help with their mission in the community and see what kind of solutions and goals can be strive towards.
I know I asked you this already, but are you planning on playing in our pickleball tournament in August?
Yes, I have plans to play in it, and I did have played it previously, and pickleball it's a fun sport as well. It's a neat racket sport, and
Is it a
and
lot different than tennis?
yeah, I mean, there are definitely some similarities, but they're obviously the court's a lot smaller, and you're
Okay, I was gonna say
using
that. I did
yeah,
notice that
so
when I
you're
tried
not
to play.
yeah, you're not moving around as much as on a pickleball court. Like, is you have to cover as much ground, and you're using a different type of like wiffle ball compared to a tennis ball, and the paddles are a little different. So I mean, I would say the learning curve's a little easier on pickleball than tennis. Like tennis it takes a little while to kind of get to a level that you can play like competitively too. But I mean, pickleball it's getting a lot of attention and there's a pretty high level pro tour going on in pickleball. So it's
It's
definitely
became real popular.
yeah, yeah. And I don't know. I know pickleball is not I haven't heard of any competition for it, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that starts kind of sprouting up and
Yeah,
stuff,
absolutely.
and I've definitely enjoyed. I mean, one way to like when I'm out with some friends that are not necessarily disabled, I can go out to the pickleball court and play with them. Like I can get my my sports chair and take it out and play pickleball with other people that are not necessarily from the disabled community. So
Right.
that's a nice avenue, and most people can pick up pickleball and it's it's a good way to socialize and it's nice to still get that kind of competitive kind of drive when you're playing. So yeah.
All right. What would you say your biggest life lesson is that you've learned?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I mean,
I feel like I've learned so
yeah,
many.
I know. It's been it really tests your will when you go through these, through any type of adversity, and that can um and it really builds like your character and your motivation. So I guess I'm trying to think a certain I guess the life lesson I've learned is really the positive thinking and the mind over matter like I was mentioning,
Right.
and how to really set the goals and have the right attitude towards certain obstacles in your life,
Right.
and I mean, I know there's a lot of adverse people like overcome that are not necessarily just from injuries. There's other types of adversity that some that can't be seen, more invisible, but
Right.
it's about a lot about attitude and how you react to
Well,
certain
and
outcomes.
it's
It's
what
like
you want out of life after that,
yeah,
right? It's
yeah,
like you can't just there's lots of times where I could
yeah,
just, sit around and feel sorry for myself, but
yeah,
I want more for myself and for
yeah,
life out of that. Life's short. You got to
yeah.
make the best of it,
Uh-huh. And
depending
you only have
regardless.
your own life now, and you gotta like it's not like you can, change the conditions right now, and then you got to focus on making the most of what you do have, and being grateful. And there's always someone worse off or better off, so it's not great to compare yourself to others,
Right.
constantly. So
Right.
it's about, how do you respond, and how you build like a life that's worth meaningful to you and meaningful to, giving back to others, and creating like the right goals that strive towards to make that, reality, and
Right.
materialize that. So I'm trying to strive towards that, and I think
It seems like you're doing a great job. You have
certain
the right
ways. I
mindset.
mean, I know some days are better than others, and
Right.
so it's just kind of a constant journey that ebbs and flows and stuff. But it's just kind of trying to figure out what the best path forward is, and finding the right people that maybe can aid in that, and you can also, be a leader and providing, support to others. It's
Right.
life is a lot about your connections, and like people you can kind of build a community around. And I think, we're social beings. We gotta like have people that you can connect to, I think. And
And I
I
think that's what's kind of important too with the whole person and meeting others with disabilities is just trying
Yeah,
to be a positive impact on their life and try to
yeah,
get them to understand
yeah,
that, if you change your mindset, you
yeah,
can do anything,
yeah, yeah,
and it's not the worst case scenario.
yeah. The whole person definitely helps to kind of connecting those dots to people that, have somewhat similar conditions, and experiences, to try to relate to them, and yeah, create that, like, that relationship. So that's a great point. And I'm fortunate to have, this community. I mean, the whole person here. I mean, I know not that many maybe cities have this type of organization, but it's
Right.
great to fortunate to have it in Kansas City here. and
Absolutely.
and um I'm excited to, see where this leads,
Yeah.
and meeting more great people through it.
Well, is there anything that we didn't discuss that you wanna add? I
So, yeah, I'm trying to think.
feel like we've covered
Yeah,
quite a
we've
bit.
covered a lot of bases. Yeah, I mean, I would say just, I feel like adaptive sports is definitely picking up popularity, and there's different ways of, you know getting involved, and whether it's participating, or, supporting it through donations, or even just getting out there, and volunteering to certain events. I would encourage you just to check it out and spread the word, and really try
Absolutely.
to maximize like um kind of the notifying people. Like, it's just kind of like the what events are going on, and making it more revealing and stuff. So, but
Right.
yeah, it's I'm just, yeah, I'm excited for what the future holds.
Absolutely.
And I think, um yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else that
Yeah, I
I
think
haven't
we've covered
covered
it
and stuff. So
about everything.
yeah,
Well, thanks so much for being here with us today, and good luck to you in your journey. And I will see you at the pickleball tournament
sounds
in
good.
August.
Thanks so much,
Yeah,
and
thanks
I'm
for
glad
being
to be
here.
here, and appreciate it.
Great. All right, listeners, for our upcoming events, we have rock climbing the second Saturday of the month. We have bowling the third Wednesday of the month. Of course, you can always check those events out on our website at thewholeperson.org. And of course, we have our pickleball and cornhole tournament coming up the let's see, August 18th at Chicken and Pickle in Overland Park. If you're interested in playing, you can go to thewholeperson.org/the big dill and sign up there. Also, we're going to need volunteers. So if you're interested in volunteering, go to our volunteers page and you can sign up that way, and I will follow up with you. And we will see you next time. Have a great day.